years or so. There
Sorry
we
about that.
go. Now we're rocking and rolling. I
Yep.
actually wanted to start off by sharing a quick story. I'll take everyone back about 10 years or so ago. I remember when I had a manager that was potentially the worst manager I've actually ever had. She would belittle me in front of customers, in front of the team, explosive behavior, would walk into the room and honestly, people would be like, oh, go, here we go, right? And so it started to wear on me as the not days or weeks, but not even months, but the quarters and years went by and, tried everything I could to be able to meet every expectation and just be the best contributor I possibly could be. But at the end of the day, it really wasn't working out between us. And so I approached our president at the time and I said, hey, this isn't working out. Either like we got to make something change or I'm out of here. And it's a family business. So you would think like we'd be able to make something work. And we did. We did. We said, okay, hey, let's keep investing in her, and there was a path there. And then the president at the time said, "Great, you can report to me, and I'll invest in you." And so, that way, well, let's make the best of this situation as we possibly can. Fast forward 5 years, things got much, much better as I had the opportunity to become president and CEO. I jumped at it, right? And so that's really the happy ending of that story. Because in 2020 is when I became the president and CEO of the Manufacturers Alliance. And yes, our president, who's our founder, is my father. And it was that year in 2020, spending time with people was a little taboo, right? You just had to be cautious. And so we didn't spend a lot of time together. But for Father's Day that year, we did get together. And that year I wrote him a card. No, I'm not like a big writer, but I wrote him a card. And in that card, I said, I can't wait to make you proud. He read the card, he looked up at me and he said, "You already have." And I just gulped and I melted. And in that moment, like he added so much meaning, so much more meaning to my work to be able to say, okay, great, I've hit this milestone. He recognizes it. And I just was ready to do that much more. And so that was really a pivotal moment for me to say, managers and leaders, you have the opportunity to add a ton of meaning to the work that the people on your team are doing. These leaders, you have that ability. I just want to unlock it to the best of my ability. And that's why like this topic is so germane, I think, for me, but really for all of us. I do recognize that, especially I think over the last 3 to 5 years, that people in our communities, in our workforce, in the team and the culture that you're building are completely starved for recognition. Like, I'm not sure that they would all say it. You might capture some of this in a survey, maybe it's in one-on-ones or conversations, but in my experience, people are starved for recognition. And I also think that, after working with hundreds of manufacturers for the last, like you said, Brad, 20, 25, who knows if I make it to 30 years, that not recognizing your team is a complete tragedy if you let this stuff just go by the wayside. Like, I know for a fact, because I've experienced it and again, worked with hundreds of manufacturers, that recognition is contagious. I absolutely love this. When I'm with the team out on the floor, and working with them, and you see the attaboys and the snowball effect kick in. Where let's say I would say, hey, Brad, great job on the project, hitting this milestone. Look at this success metric. You even hit it early. Thank you. When you go the extra mile like that, it really impacts the team. I really appreciate it. And Brad says, "Yep, I appreciate that. Thanks for the shout out, Kirby. But Tom was a big part of the project. Tom actually played this specific role, really helped keep things in scope so we weren't out of scope. So, hey, Tom, thank you as well." And then Tom says, "Okay, yeah, I really appreciate that, Brad. But Elizabeth on the team also played a big part, right?" And it just, I don't know if you've been in that meeting, but it's like the shout outs and the attaboys go, "Yeah, it's not all about me. What about Brad? What about Tom?" Like that's the part that can be super, super contagious. And I think that, it'll help you create that high performing team that actually wants to stick together when you're doing that on a regular basis. Like you can create the energy and you can create the enthusiasm that you will not get anywhere else. I guarantee it. Your team has a unique fingerprint, a unique DNA when you call out those specific things that people are doing that are legit, genuine, and in real time that will help people stick together and it'll have a really big impact on not just like your performance as an individual or as a team, but also in the culture that you're building. I
I'll
do
just
know. Oh, yeah,
throw
go
a
ahead.
comment. I'll throw a comment in here, Kirby. Yeah, one of my favorite moments. We have our quarterly EOS meetings within our organization, and we will give advance notice to our employees to come to the meeting with a shout out to one of their other coworkers, and it's by far one of the most positive, contagious types situations where they're commenting on different things that the employee has done, the way they carry themselves, how great of a coworker they are, etc. And it's one of my favorite moments within our organization. It's very deliberate and it's organized and it's we're going to do these shout outs.
Yep.
But I truly believe it is absolutely contagious. I think that's a great point.
I will say this, like it's good to get that going. There's a huge challenge that I see in manufacturing. And the challenge is kind of like what you said. I'll just build on it. That turnover is rampant within the industry. Specifically, like my purview is Midwest manufacturing, hundreds of manufacturers, small, medium, and some large within the Midwest that are members. And you can look at it in a few different ways, and like we've looked at data sets in a few different ways because turnover has got three metrics that kind of paint into the total picture. Well, there's voluntary, involuntary, and then there's total turnover. And so that's a little bit of the perspective I have. I've looked at different surveys. I'm a data geek. I'm sure, like a lot of you on the call. Here's one perspective, one survey I looked at. It's like 6 months old, so not too old, but here's a quick screenshot I'll throw up for you guys. So this looks at total separation rates. Like you can look at all industry groups, but I called out the three there, like food and kindred products, 36% on average turnover annually total. Primary metal industries, 38% at that 75th percentile. That one makes me cringe. 26.5 electronic and other. That's on average. So like you're doing pretty good if you're at like 20 or less in total turnover in a year. And in my book, like that's just not good enough. Like that's not a feature, that's a bug, right?
Sure.
Like this is a
Yep.
problem
Yep.
to solve. And
Yep.
and I would say, like Brad, I don't know if you've experienced or seen numbers like this, or maybe some of your clients and customers, share this information. If would you have you seen anything like it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the manufacturing side for sure, as you get into some of the production and a little bit more light industrial, you're going to have higher turnover naturally. On the architecture engineering side, it would be lower, but I still think it coming at a huge cost. And I think it's a majority of our clients and the ones I've communicated with, a lot of the times it's higher than what is an acceptable level. So yeah, it absolutely continues to be a challenge for a large percentage of our clients.
So, I mean, I think we could all agree like it's too expensive. You want to avoid it. But the reality is I think we all need to take a page out of the lean manufacturing or continuous improvement playbooks and then just figure out what's going on. And I think the best way to do that is to just lean on that five why. Like figure out what's going on and then what's causing that, what's causing that, what's causing that. Like the thing again that I like to geek out on with data sets. So I've got some banker friends, right? So I've got some banker buddies, and they're privy to these data sets and these debt loans, or debt loads rather. And so we took a look at a data set of 18 to 28-year-olds and their debt loads, and we compared like the most recent 10 years versus 10 years prior to that. And it was interesting because you would look at the debt load and how much less it is. Like you look at college, you look at are they getting married, you look at the car, you look at the mortgage, there's a big one. You look at kids, like all that stuff creates debt. And you would look at those factors and how they're correlated really strongly to how more and more these days, 18 to 28-year-olds don't have that from those factors like they did a decade ago. So I think it's just easier for them as a result to hop from job to job. They don't have the debt load. Another factor here when you go into maybe that second why is a lot of people, especially again the last decade, have said and experienced, hey, what's the fastest way for me to make more money? Right? And so debt loads down, how do I increase the revenue? It's a natural question for all of us. But they'll realize that if they quit their job and go find a new one about every 2 to 3 years, like they can actually get that 10 to 20% base pay increase versus what's the alternative that we're doing? What has been a merit, what has been a cost of living, like it doesn't always equal the same amount. And so if that happens once, of course, you tell your friends, and then you can ramp up your pay pretty quick. Does that happen to everyone? No, it doesn't for sure. But it's a really fast way to increase your revenue. And you can't do it like you can't do it every 6 months or every year. Otherwise, right, you get labeled as a job hopper, and then that's taboo. So but I definitely see it. I know people that have done it, and I just acknowledge it as reality. And as leaders, we all have to deal with reality. And then the last one here that I think is part of what's causing some of this stuff when we do five whys, I think is actually the biggest one is that individuals are actually more likely to leave their boss than they are to leave the business. So
Mm.
let's say they don't get a 10%. Let's say they don't have debt. If they don't have a good relationship with the boss, the correlation with their likeliness to leave goes up like 50%, right? And so it's definitely that mid to high tier double digit percentile that they're likely out of there within weeks or months. And so
Yeah.
that's what I actually want to propose uh, that we go after. That's the cause that I think we should go after. That's where I think, again, taking a page out of the lean manufacturing playbook and continuous improvement, we install and test a countermeasure, like recognition being the most effective low cost solution. And consequently, what can you do to work towards becoming a better boss? So there's best practices then, and then there's some mistakes to avoid. I want to get into some of the mistakes first. But the network's big. I want to help people make sure that when they join the alliance, they never feel like anyone's ever going to throw them under the bus, right? So I'm actually going to take some of these mistakes that I see, and we're going to showcase them in the form of Dilbert. So here's the first one. If you can't read it, too small or whatever, I'll just speak to it. So Dilbert saying, I find it rather demotivating that you never praise me for a job well done. And the boss says, well, you've never done a job well. Dilbert says, well, that's because I'm demotivated. The boss says, you have to go first. Dilbert says, wouldn't that make me the leader? Yeah. So I think the point here is like, hey, find something small and start. Like, great to see you. Thanks for being punctual, right? Like, showing up on time is really important in manufacturing. Showing up on time is important for every industry. And so you could just find something small and start if you want to avoid this mistake. Here's another one. So I'm naming you Employee of the Month. Your prize is $20 cash and a pat on the head, says the boss. Give yourself $20 and submit employee reimbursement request, says the boss. Dilbert says, well, do I get to pat myself on the head too? I was hoping you would offer, said the boss. So, obviously, I think the lesson here, it's a little, it's kind of cute, makes you smirk, but people do it. Like, don't delegate recognition. Don't make it more work, right? It should be seamless for them. You do it. You lead the way. You figure out how best to recognize them and not just pile it on them, make it one more thing to do. Okay, here's another thing to avoid. I'll read it out. So, according to an anonymous online employee survey, you don't trust what management or what's you don't trust management, period. What's up with that? Pregnant pause. Awkward silence. Oh, right. Got it. Anonymous online employee survey. So, like, if it's private, you got to keep it private. You got to build trust. That's the big thing here. Like, you got to say what you mean when it comes to recognizing people, and then you got to do what you say. You got to follow up. If people don't trust you, none of this recognition stuff's going to work. It's going to fall flat, right? So you really do got to build trust in that way. So really, really essential. Last one here in terms of what not to do. Well, I solved the problem of trying to figure out which way each employee likes to be recognized. I told them all to go blank themselves. I mean, recognize themselves. That's the wrong way to do it as well. It really starts with your mindset. Like, you can't just tell people to all go blank themselves, recognize themselves. Like, the team works really hard for a reason, and you got to believe it, like in your mind, right? In many cases, you approved the budget so that they would be hired. Like, you should by default front load all the trust and all the belief and all the resources in them. So those are some of the mistakes to avoid. I mean, Brad, I don't know if you want to share any comments or anything before I move into some of the best practices here.
Well, and actually, I've got just a couple questions that I posted, so I'll toss them out there, and you can either answer now or defer. So, one of the
Yep.
questions was, how can leaders ensure that recognition feels authentic?
Ooh, yeah. So I've got a really good one for that. It does need to be timely, right? So like when you see it, say it. And oftentimes in manufacturing, people will say, well, what's the standard, right? So very process driven, very standard driven. If you don't have a standard, there needs to be a standard. And that standard can actually feel a little awkward the first couple of times you say it, but once you learn the standard, it'll help you make sure that recognition is very authentic. And I'll give you some examples in a couple minutes here. We can go deep on that one.
Yeah.
You got another one?
Nope. The other one actually was regarding, it was pre-posted, and coincidentally it was regarding what mistakes are made. So you kind of addressed that.
You got
Yeah.
it. Okay, so let's get into best practices, and I want to go deep here. This will help make sure that things feel authentic, and I'm going to give you some step by step so that you've got like a playbook for this stuff, right? So step one here, like it says, know what is important and why. There's three facets to this one. So you got to know your department and company goals. You got to know how they impact the customer. So, like I'll back up. For goals, manufacturing, safety, quality, delivery, cost, start there, right? What are your safety goals, quality goals, delivery goals, your cost goals? Those should be posted up on a board. If they're not, ask your boss. You should know what those are. How are we doing today, this week? What's the trend? And then know how they impact the customer. Like you should know your company's goal to serve the customer. Is it your goal to be really quick? You're like that's how you guys are different, unique. Your lead times are really short, you're super fast. Or maybe it's your goal to be really different. Maybe you've got custom products, right? Or maybe it's your goal to be more customer service oriented. They can buy the one product, but then you have a portfolio or a family of products and a family of SKUs that go along with it. So know your goals, know how they support the customer, and then know how you're going to behave in such a way to be able to deliver on those goals and customer values every single day. And that's your company core values. Whether you have three, five, or seven, you should know those. So, like at the Alliance, we keep it really simple. We've got three: team, attitude, improvement. Like we're constantly challenging the way things have always been done. We'll approach our work with a yes if versus no because attitude. And you get to know the team so that you can know when to lean on the team because every team member has unique skills, strengths, and abilities. You should know what those are. You should volunteer yours. And when we need help from each other, we know how to best lean into the other person so that they can help us and then help the team more broadly. So those are our three core values. Like, you should know yours again, whether it's three, five, or more of them. So, how do you do it? Just to take it a little bit deeper, here are some questions to ask your boss maybe the next time you meet with them. In fact, I'm going to encourage you all to let's just take 30 seconds right now. Write down one of your department goals, write down one of your goals, write down how those goals or that one goal creates value for your customer. And then what are your core values? Maybe your team or your company has a dozen and it's too many to remember. What's one of them? Write down one core value. And I'll give it 30 seconds and then just put it in the Q&A. I know it's not, it's a Q&A, but just put one of your goals and one of your values in the Q&A and let's load that thing up with what people are doing for goals. I'll give you 30 seconds. I'll see you in 30 seconds. All right, Brad. Well, the rest of the individuals on the call here are filling this up, and I can see how it's starting to populate. I'm going to put you on the spot. What's one core value at Konik that you could share with everybody on the call?
Yep, understands the value of reputation.
Love that.
Yep.
Absolutely love that.
Yeah, so it's yeah, it's one of three. And one of the things that we emphasize with our team is it's understanding that we're not just talking about the reputation of our organization, which certainly is part of it. They are representatives of our organization, but it's also their own personal reputation. What do you bring to the office as far as attitude, collaboration, teamwork, things like that? So it's very much a global, understanding the value reputation, both personally, professionally, and from an organizational and individual perspective. So,
Love it. It makes me think about how I'm showing up every single day as I represent myself, the team, and the company. I really respect that. We got a handful here, it looks like, in the Q&A. So if you could see it, great. Otherwise, Brad, you want to share or speak to any of these?
yep. So, starting with a goal, we've got individual Kurt posted. The goal is to design, review, and quality control. And then we've got a core value, humility. And then we don't have a comment yet on the goals, how they create value for the customer.
Hey, it's this is good though. This is really good. The positive attitude, solutions oriented, humility. Then just as those obviously came to people's mind first, then just map those to how they create value for the customer. So that's foundational and essential. That's step one, knowing what's important. Step two is, well, how do people actually like to be recognized? Like you can't just peanut butter this stuff and then just spread it around once you figured out one thing. You really do need to know each individual. And there's three perspectives here. There's the perspective of your direct reports, the immediate people that formally report to you on the immediate team. Like, how do they like to be recognized? Then I'd say take it to your manager. How do they like to be recognized? Usually managers, like they say, like it's lonely at the top. Like it doesn't have to be that way. You could get to know your boss, your manager, and figure out how they like to be recognized. Then the other one is even your peers. Well, how do your peers like to be recognized? And so I just think those are three good perspectives. I mean, if I had to put emphasis on one, I'd say, hey, focus on the direct reports, right? There's a lot of work there. If you only had to pick one to start small, figure out how the people on your immediate team like to be recognized.
Sure.
Now, the last time I gave this talk, they said, well, that's a lot of work. And I said, well, if nothing else, AI can help you these days. So,
Right.
ChatGPT it can, just literally put that prompt into ChatGPT or Gemini or whatever you're using, Copilot, that's maybe approved by your company. And here's one perspective that AI would give you. You got the different generations and how they may like to be recognized, right? And so this is just a thought starter. I would always question and take what AI gives you to the next level. So some people, formal recognition, some written, some plaques, titles, sincere, personalized, frequent, informal, digital, like you mentioned, whether it's a Slack shout out or on Teams, that's growing in popularity. Gamification, real-time feedback, do something creative. Those are all great thought starters on how to recognize people on your team. Doesn't even have to be according to this generation map. Here are the questions that I think you should ask specifically the people on your team. So if there was only one perspective, people on your team, if there was only one question, I'd pick that bottom one. What forms of recognition do you value most? Honestly, I had one gal on my team. She was like, well, if you want to recognize me, send me a bottle of wine and make sure I got time to go on vacation. Because she literally was like, it's such a stereotype, but she's like, I like long walks on the beach with my husband with a glass of wine. I'm like, okay, let's figure it out. So, but I think
That's
most
very
of,
specific.
I know, right?
I love it.
But it's good. And like if you've got a dozen people on your team, you can definitely be specific. That's the nice thing about this stuff. Is that you really get to know people on your team and they can volunteer information that is genuine and specific. So that's step two, right? So that you gotta essentially map what's really important and then how do they like to be recognized. And then that's step three, that's next, just being really intentional, right? And so we're not going to connect the dots yet. I just want to give you some guidance and advice on kind of what to do. So you got to look for the behaviors. Look for the things they do that support the goals and values that you now know and have committed to memory. And then recognize individuals for their specific contributions and make sure that you reinforce the positive behaviors consistently, right? You are the Energizer Bunny on the team. You're the leader. You are constantly doing this stuff. How are you going to do it? You're going to go to the Gemba. This is a fancy term in manufacturing that says go to where the work is done. So if you're in an office setting, go to the cube or go to their office. Or if it's in a manufacturing setting, go to the cell, go to the line, go to the team huddle that's happening at 7 in the morning or at 7 at night. Show up. I got a note here that says wine can go far, anything that is genuine. Yes, I like that. Absolutely love it. But know what they like and then go to the Gemba where you can actually see what's going on. Watch for people doing something that supports a goal or a metric or a core value. And then when you see it, say it, right? But make sure that it's specific. The best way to do that is to go to the Gemba. Then step four here, make it a habit. So like set a goal to recognize at least one person every day for 30 days. You're saying, Kirby, that's way too much. I can't do it. Here's a simple method. This is what I started doing. If I would be with you in person, I would literally hand out a bunch of pennies right now. And you start your day with a penny if you're right-handed in your right pocket, and your goal is to move that to your left pocket before the end of the day. And you can't do it until you recognize someone. You're going to do that every day for a month. You're going to do that for the rest of January, or you're going to do that for all of February. So do that. And then the last thing you're going to do here is that you're going to tell your boss. You're going to tell your boss if you're a team lead or supervisor, you're going to tell the manager, hey, I want to be better at figuring out how my team likes to be recognized and recognize them because I want to be able to create that high performing team. I want a positive culture around here, and it really starts with me and our team. So just so you know, boss, I'm working on it. As soon as you vocalize that and tell them, they're going to say, that's awesome. How can I support you? So do these three things to help make it a habit. So there you go, four steps and some actions that you can take to accomplish every step. I want to help make sure that you're acting in all this stuff. And so I want to show you some recognition in action. And I want to start by answering the question that was shared about 12 minutes ago. So, what's the standard to make sure that it's genuine? You got to do these three things. Not to like, once you've said it like 15 times, then you can just have fun with it. But you got to say, when you, I felt, because you got to incorporate those three parts in your recognition. So, for example, hey, Brad, when you cleaned up your workstation at the end of the shift, I really appreciated it because I know that we've only got 15 minutes in between our shift change. And then when Tom comes in to start the second shift, he gets to walk into a clean workstation, which is a sense of pride for you, a sense of pride for him. A clean, organized workplace really is a sense of pride for the whole team. So I really appreciate it for that reason. So when you, I felt, because. You got to have something specific that they did. There is a little bit of a feeling there, and then a strong reason why behind it. Okay. Here's one more thing you can do then to take it up a notch. And I see some questions coming in, so I'll pause in a second here, Brad. But if you
Yep.
want to take it up a notch, then praise people in front of their peers and then in front of their leaders. It'll like if you know that they like it. Like if some people would say, "Don't ever call me out in front of the team," right? So that's why I put
Right.
that part first. That like that could backfire on you. I'm looking at the question here. So if you
Yep.
know they kind of like they might like the spotlight, for sure, give them some recognition in front of their peers or leaders, right? You're at the team huddle. Maybe it is a tier three or tier four meeting if you're in manufacturing and you call out great work that they did that was specific, something recent in front of the leaders, that can go a long way.
And I
Here's
will say,
another.
just
Oh yeah, go ahead.
real quick, Kirby, just on to that note. I mean, at the end of the day, regardless of how confident you are, praise recognition feels so good. And when it's just in a vacuum between you and one other person, particularly a supervisor or manager, it's kind of like you kind of want to go run and, scream it at the top of the top of the mountains. Like, and so I think that there's a lot of leverage there. I think that is available in presenting that recognition in front of peers and particularly other leaders. I've seen it in our organization. Just you can see the person just light up. I think that's huge. I like that a lot. It's a good
So,
reminder.
Brad, you probably get this. I get this a lot where like I'm the formal leader, and I am the face of the alliance. And consequently, I get a fair amount of spotlight. So people will call me, members will call me and they say, "Hey, thank you so much for the training. Thank you so much for the connections. Thank you so much for the educational opportunity," whatever it may be. And I'll say, "Hey, I really appreciate that, but Megan actually was the one that really put that
Yeah.
specific thing together. Like I wasn't the person. Sure, I play a part, I appreciate it, but I'll ask them, I say, is there any way you could call me back? Like I'm gonna hang up, call me back. I'm not gonna answer. You could leave that same message, but include Megan's name or include Monica's name or Abby's name in the voicemail so that then I have something to go and share with them because it'll mean a lot coming from you, the customer, you, the supplier, you, the partner. And so that's what I love to do. Like I get to do that maybe a half dozen times a year, and it goes over well every single time. Check this one out.
Yeah.
Hey, Kirby. It is about quarter to one on Thursday, week after Connect the Dots, and I'm just kind of getting back in the groove and just want to say thanks to you and to your team. It's great to have Abby at the event and get to know her a little bit. And Monica was a part of this too. If you can relay that to those two, that would be awesome. You're doing important work, all three of you, and I think it's great and glad you could be a part of our event. Thanks, you guys. Bye bye.
Okay, so nothing fancy. Here's the magic. As soon as they hear their name, they're gonna go, "Oh." When I've done this in front of a live audience and Monica hears her name, she goes, "Oh, thanks." Even though this is from like a year ago, right? Like every single
Yeah.
time. And now I have this audio track, this voicemail that I've hung on to for a long period of time. So there's just a lot of value there. The other
That was
one
perfect. That was
that,
perfect
oh
timing
yeah,
because we had someone post, seems like great principles for our professional relationships as well as personal. Do you have any recent examples of how using recognition has impacted your organization or you personally? And then you played that recording and Ryan said, well, there you go. Great example. So you were reading his mind. I love it.
yeah.
And
Here's
then we've
here's
got another one to
oh,
think
another
about
one.
if you want to address it now. Or do you ever have concerns about recognition backfiring in the sense of an employee then becoming empowered to ask for a raise or promotion? I obviously, I mentioned in my introduction that recognition is one of the most cost-effective ways. I guess I hadn't really thought of that. It could then lead to, oh, well, if I'm doing such a great job, have you run into that at all?
Yeah, I have. I'll jump to that right now. So I
Okay.
actually want people to want more money. I do. And that's
Okay.
my mindset. But I also want them to know that they will have to earn the raise or earn the promotion. So their contribution to the team comes before any kind of additional compensation. And when someone says, well, Kirby, I don't care about your kind words. I really just want more money. It depends on how they say it, right? Because tone matters sometimes.
Right.
But I get it. Like you don't want the psychic income, you want income in that back pocket, right? Or in your bank account. And so if it's genuine and sincere and they're like, "Hey, thanks, but I am trying, so I appreciate you recognizing me. How can I earn more money?" I'd say, "Hey, I appreciate you sharing that with me. I want to do everything I can to go to bat for you. Let's see what we can do to put together a game plan to make sure that you are not just being recognized like I'm doing, but really learning more and earning more along the way." So maybe it's like January and February when they share that information. Like I would acknowledge it, I would praise that, and then I would say I'll either go to my manager now to see if we have something in the budget. That way, the next time we talk about compensation, we could set an expectation on, hey, if you do these things, you can earn more when we look at that compensation review and do that compensation formal analysis. Because I
Yeah.
want you to be paid fairly. That's exactly
Yeah.
what I would invite. It's never
Sure.
backfired on me.
Okay, good. So it's, yeah, I mean, it may open up the conversation, but still, when you really think of the, risk reward, return on investment type, you're going to get so much more out of being deliberate with your recognition across your team, despite the few scenarios in which case, okay, it might lead to a raise request or promotion request, et cetera. Um, your experience has been that, yeah, the equity that you build by offering up that recognition is well worth it, despite some of those conversations coming up.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah,
And ultimately what you want is that total rewards to make people fairly compensated from a total compensation perspective.
yeah,
Yes, you got to have the skills and experience to be a good boss. Yes, they do need to be fairly compensated. Yes, you do need to have a positive work environment where the work means something to them. At the end of the day, you have to have all of those components to be able to have just really be a great place to work.
sure. Yep. Love it.
Okay, check this one out. Here's another great one. In doing this one, I guarantee you're going to take your recognition to the next level. So, like, we've all probably written a thank you card, and you could use the standard that I mentioned earlier. I felt because, but you just put that in writing, and then you give them a card. But here's the kicker in parentheses: send it to their home address. So I've never asked HR to do this. I've always just done it. So I don't know if that's a thing, but I would just do it. I would just do it. Because
Right.
here's the thing that I know like for sure will happen is that we all have good days and we all have bad days and we all have likely anyway a significant other. A lot of us, I should say, have a significant other at home that we go home to on a regular basis. And they're going to take a look and they're going to go, "What? Brad got a card from the company and oh, I think it's from his boss." They may open it up, right? I mean, let's hope it
Right.
is. Or maybe they wait till you get home and you open it up and you're like, "That's cool." And then you share it with them. And then it might even stay there for a while. I've had people that I've sent cards to at home and they say, "Yeah, put it on the fridge, put it on the counter." And it's been there ever since. And that was years ago. And so what happens is that when you do have a bad day, and you are maybe venting to your spouse, then the other person goes, "Man, I'm really sorry, but at least Brad's a good boss," right? Because they remember the card and they have that visual reminder
Sure.
that's right there in the house. So the card sent home, I think, is really important. It's a good one.
I like that.
Okay, couple more things, and then we could take some more questions here. This is good that they're coming in. Okay, so this next one, I have to tell you, I'll share it with you, but it is a little crude. It's a little crude. What you're about to see is a little crude. Not this picture. This picture is a great picture. This is Megan Dawson on our team, and she looks happy. Doesn't she look happy? She's been on the team
Very
for
happy.
six
Yes.
plus years now, and she won our inaugural, here it is, "We'd Be Screwed Without You" award. And so this is something that we did a couple of years ago. We did in 2025. Haven't done the 2026 version of this. But I just absolutely love this because it was peer to peer, right? So I didn't pick Megan and say, "Here you go, here's an award. Everybody applaud Megan and then take a picture." Her peers privately and confidentially voted for her. She doesn't even know who voted or who didn't vote. It's just a majority vote. And then she won. And so literally everybody on the team said, "Well, we think we'd be screwed without you." And so it was just like, awesome, thanks, guys. And then I gave her this trophy. No, the trophy was super cheap. Like I bought this on Amazon for I think 9.95, another 3.95 for the little frillies, right? And so just having some fun. And we've done it once. We're doing it again, and we'll do it a third time. She's been on the team now for 6+ years, and so she's just been a great addition to the team. Something that works for us on a small scale, but I also recognize that many of you on the call really want to scale this stuff up, and you're not going to give, 100 of these things away, and you may not even use the name that we used, being screwed without you.
Yeah.
And
Real
so,
quick, just a couple
oh
things. So
yeah,
we've got one that Gretchen had commented that yeah, there are maybe some limitations around home addresses, but love the intent. Anna stated that yeah, she has cards from supervisors 10 years ago. To your point, in her desk, and then I think that it's an anonymous, but it must be a former employee. It says, Brad, I still have the engraved iPad I got way back when. It's super special.
yes,
Every quarter at our quarterly meetings, we've started. It's interesting. Before we even got this set up, it started about 3 quarters ago. We have our employees anonymously vote on employee of the quarter, and we
okay,
just we ask that they base it on our core purpose and our core values. Love it. So along the same lines. Yep, big fan of
that,
that. We don't have a
that's
trophy
awesome.
though. Now I'm a little
Get it,
jealous. We
get
need
it.
to get
Go
a
to
trophy that they get
Amazon.
to set on their desk for the quarter. Yep.
$10, they're cheap.
Right.
So a lot of companies want to scale this stuff up, and one company, Nortech Systems, 50% reduction in turnover. Work with their head of HR to be able to do everything that we've talked about so far, and then do even more. They said, "Hey, let's invest in our front line. Let's invest in our supervisors. Let's improve communication. Let's reduce conflict. Let's increase team collaboration. Let's make sure they know how to recognize good performance, recognize those core values, recognize behaviors on the spot." As it relates to the type of culture that we're building here at Nortech. And they saw some major results. It wasn't anything that they did in a week or a month. This was literally more like an 18-month journey for them, but the results were worth it, in my opinion. And with these numbers, a complete transformation of the company and the type of culture that they're
Wow,
building.
that is incredible.
So yeah, I do get some yeah buts, and the yeah but that I put in here was, well, what if they want more money?
Oh, there's that same question. Yep.
And so I recognize the question. I gave you a few thoughts on how to answer that one earlier. So you just got to be okay with talking about money, right? And the way to make it okay and not awkward is to think about it in advance, think about what you would say, and think about their intent. Like it's okay for people to want to make more money, and it's okay for you to be able to say, "Great, let's put together a path." Or it's okay to be able to say, "Hey, we could review that, in 9 months, in a year, whatever it may be." It's okay to be able to identify those standards at your company. Or if you don't know those standards, go identify them. So if you want to just continue to invest in your team, you want to connect with even more people that you can trust and talk about recognition or other leadership topics. If you want to see what other peers in the industry are doing, really see what's possible, or even, go further from just kind of the high level best practices, but really develop new skills that work for you. You can become a member of the Manufacturers Alliance if you're not yet. You'd be in a community of 400 plus manufacturers within the Midwest, like Brad was talking about, and within a community of 12,000 plus individuals that you could compare and share best practices to, and learn new skills when it works for you with some of the digital courses that we have, or stay connected in some of the community groups that we have. But if you want to take just that next step, we put together a guide for everybody on the call. It's a complimentary guide. It's everything that I've shared here and more. And so you can just take out your phone, you can scan this QR code. It's recognition that, again, will help you retain talent. It will help you become such a good supervisor. You will be the standard for others to follow. And that's really what I want for you. Really want better leaders throughout the entire manufacturing community. I know there's more than just manufacturing on here, but for those of you that do work in manufacturing, that want to become better leaders, maybe you're a supervisor or a manager in any functional area, this guide is really for you. So there you go, chance to download that.
Thank you very much. That's awesome.
Hey, did we get any more questions? Did we cover all the questions?
We've covered them all thus far, so we'll kind of see what comes in here over the next few minutes. But I certainly appreciate it. A couple of notes that I made. See it, say it. I like it. Just such an easy reminder. Like see it, say it. Real time. I think it goes a long ways. And the other thing too is that as a leader, you may not realize how big of an impact that you can have on your employees. And a consultant that came in and worked with us talked about emails, and she said, as an owner or a senior leader in an organization, your emails are in all caps. Like whether you say, "Hey, nice job, getting that project done," or whether you say, "Hey, why didn't you follow up with that call?" It's like you're screaming in a good way or a bad way. And so it's interesting because there's been times throughout my career as a leader where I've made just an off the cuff comment of like, "Hey, great job, by the way. That candidate looked fantastic for that job." And then it comes back around through my leadership team and they're like, "That employee was so jacked up that you were excited about that candidate." And like that went a long ways. And so it goes to show, and it's a testament how you can take it for granted as a leader, how impactful that recognition is and how easy it can be done. And the other one was, yeah, if you're stuck on it, I really like the despite the fact pennies being obsolete and no longer produced, I do like the penny method. If for someone that struggles with recognition, what a great reminder. And drop a couple in your pocket and say by the end of the day, or whatever it may be. So I really like those couple tips. Those are easy ones.
Yeah, well, I appreciate it. Yeah, you got to make it actionable. We got to work towards this stuff and take steps.
Yep. Yep. Well, I'll start to wrap up. We got one more here. Let's see. I love the ideas. We've implemented a few, but definitely have room for improve. Thanks, Mark. Appreciate the comment. Um, as we wrap up, I want to quick let everyone know that we actually are running a three-series webinar. The second one will be February 11th, same time, same place, via Zoom, 12 o'clock, myself and Kirby. The topic is going to be top three mistakes new leaders make. One of the things that could maybe make you shy away is, "Oh, I'm not a new leader." But you got to remember, a lot of us are hiring in new leaders beneath us, promoting people within our organizations. And so I think there's still a lot of value, even for tenured leaders, to come into that meeting so that they can be aware. One, maybe they're still making some of these mistakes. And
Good point.
two, the other is to make sure that they're keeping an eye out for potential pitfalls for new leaders that they're promoting or hiring within their organization. So February 11th, pencil it in. I'll get all of my invites out like I did this time around. So you'll all see it again. We'll post it on LinkedIn. We'll have all of the registration links ready to go, and would be really excited to have all of you join us again. And thank you for the comment. Appreciate it. Appreciate everyone. Have a wonderful day. Kirby, thanks again, and we'll see you all on the 11th.
Thanks, everybody. Talk to you again soon.
Take care.